Hey guys, Z here. You know what my favorite part about Fire Emblem Heroes is? The Fire Emblem Heroes. Despite how people may feel about the game as a whole, I think it bringing in so many characters from across the franchise and giving them new art and voices is pretty awesome. Especially for the characters from so many older titles, it's really great to see a modernized version of them. It's something I'll always be appreciative of even this far into the game's life because we usually get a set amount of them every single month. So it's a good thing that we may not be getting any for the next New Heroes banner. We just got the calendar showing us a roadmap for everything coming up, you know, the usual stuff. When the new banners are, some events, the new Grand Hero battle unit, etc. Or that's what I would be saying if we're getting one this month. The next New Heroes banner will not have a brand new Grand Hero battle unit or Forging Bonds, which is very concerning because this tells me we may be getting another set of Choose Your Legends units again. The last time something like this happened was with the Choose Your Legends 1 Harmonics banner back in November, which was only a few months ago. We didn't have a Grand Hero battle unit or Forging Bonds, which really sucked because even outside of losing out on a brand new unit, we lost out on a bunch of orbs and some other resources as well. I think that banner taking one of the new hero slots was a pretty big mistake on their end because it cuts into the free-to-play resources. Even if it's during the anniversary where they give out additional stuff to the players, anything that directly affects free-to-play stuff like that won't ever go well for people. And while it's not a very popular opinion to have, I actually don't hate the idea of these Choose Your Legends harmonic banners. I know they're not everyone's favorite, and to be honest, I completely understand why. It's more alt spam of the same characters on top of being repeats of previously existing units. That said, I think the way they're going about these banners is what's really hurting them in the end. The idea of it being a celebration banner is just completely false at this point, even with how tough of a sell that was to begin with. Really, if it was an end of the month banner instead where it could have otherwise been an OC or something, I think that would have been a bit of an easier thing to digest. Not that it would have been perfect either, but I don't think people would bat as much of an eye if an OC lost a banner slot compared to a New Heroes banner. Regardless, there are definitely better ways to go about it that wouldn't upset as many people. Now, I'd love to be wrong about this, and if it does turn out that it isn't going to be a Choose Your Legends 2 Harmonics banner, then great. It works out for everyone, and by everyone, I mean everyone who didn't want this. So everyone. Although what's not helping here is the resonant battle rotation, which lines up with the Choose Your Legends 2 harmonics, so I'm not sure what they'd even replace it with if it wasn't that. It wouldn't really make sense for it to be a standard New Heroes banner too, because they're scrapping the Grand Hero battle unit and there's no Forging Bonds. So unless they pull a wild card, it's probably going to end up being CYL2 harmonics, and if it is a New Heroes banner, but without those aspects, then that's an entirely different issue on its own. I'm just unsure why they feel the need to keep doing this, but also I'm concerned about the rest of the Bucks lineup at this point. How often are we going to get these types of banners anyway? Assuming they keep doing this every 3 months, which is the gap between the first one and the second one, that could easily come at the cost of 4 New Heroes banners every single year for the foreseeable future. Although one of those could just be the regular Choose Your Legends banner, which already takes a slot as is, but at least those are actually new. This isn't even including the new Shadows Cup units that we'll be getting sometime this year. We currently don't know where they're going to be placed, which was already a concern I had before this point, but it could be a situation where we get more alt banners taking up New Hero banner slots and actual New Heroes, especially since it's going to be multiple banners because remember, they're splitting up the winners and releasing them at different times. It makes me wonder how many actual New Heroes banners we're going to be getting this book. Is it going to get to a point where we end up with more alt banners than New Heroes banners? Most of the units we've been getting as of late were limited pool as is, so I guess that's the next step. Even new characters aren't exempt from that if they're a rearmed or an attuned or something. They'll really do what they need to do to get a unit to sell, and I get why they're doing this even outside of a financial aspect. Even if that's most of the reason they're doing this, a lot of games are running out of New Heroes to put on banners, so subsidizing them for other banners featuring repeats of popular characters, or rather, you know, New Heroes that will actually sell, is somewhat in their best interest. I don't know how effective it'll be for them, but I can certainly see why they're taking this approach, even if I don't fully like it. Looking at all the games and characters left to get base forms from each game, it's actually a lot less than you'd imagine. Shadows of Valencia and Awakening are basically out of options for New Heroes banners without resorting to alt spam. Sacred Stones, 3 Houses, and Fates aren't that far behind them, but they could probably squeeze out another banner or 2. 3 if you want to be a bit generous. Blazing doesn't have a lot left. Tellius actually has a solid amount left despite its age. Genealogy, depending if they want to add substitutes, could squeeze out a fair bit of banners as well. Really, the games with a lot of characters left include Arcanea, Thracia, Binding, Tellius, and Engage, which isn't a lot all things considered, but on top of that, most of these games don't have characters that can sell, or rather IS doesn't have the confidence in their ability to sell, which which isn't that far-fetched to believe. It's why we really haven't had a new heroes banner without a guaranteed alt or two on them in so long outside of the last genealogy banner, even if they have a lot of characters they could add. It says a lot when Shadows of Valentia of all games can get more new additions on a new heroes banner than Tellius of all games. That said, I'd rather get the alt and at least one or two guaranteed new characters than the CYL harmonics. Despite the value of the banner, the recent Sacred Stones banner is one of the better new heroes banners we've had in a long time, despite half of the banner being made up of alts. Laurishell being the headliner was pretty cool, and she isn't nearly as spammed as the other royals. Lute, despite her popularity, is now only getting her second alt, and the addition of Franz, Morva, and Garcia were really great to see, even if they weren't as desirable to people. Just their additions alone more than made up for it. It's also more exciting to see that type of content in my opinion. It's honestly part of the reason why I've lost some interest in seasonal banners. I think what made them fun was seeing who our freebie was on top of all the new additions. For me, I liked it because it was almost guaranteed something new added to the game. Even if a lot of the time I wasn't personally that invested in them as characters, seeing a character get added to the game or get an alt for the first time is always pretty cool, and more often than not, their free-to-play resources were useful, especially going off of Book 9. Almost every single Tempest trial unit had something great, and I personally used many copies of them for fodder at minimum. But it's also for that reason why they most likely scrapped them in the first place. A lot of people probably weren't invested in them enough and figured they could save the money by removing them entirely. Similarly, they probably thought they could get more people to pull for arcanes this way, since I'd imagine a lot of players were coasting off Grail options, especially Johanna Lance. Still, even if the pick was more or less a throwaway option, I found that in many instances, seeing somebody like Ranulf, or Lana, or Hawkeye, or Tailtooth, or even Fuga made it a lot more enjoyable. And granted, this didn't stop popular characters from showing up on there, but it was so few and far between that it never really bothered me that much. And that isn't even to say that the banner units, popular or not, tend to be boring or uninteresting because of those aspects. Usually, I find what they add to the game mechanically is pretty cool and can keep the game fresh at times. Usually being the important word here. But as far as character choices go, my interest in them has really only been going down over the past year or so. It's hard to be as excited over new banners when they've been continuing to reprint the same characters over and over and over and so many more overs again. How did IS know I wanted another Lyn 2 months after her Uma version? Saylin is cutting it close too, and it's not like they have any incentive to diversify seasonal banners, not that they've gotten rid of Tempest Trial units. It just means they don't have to spend as much on seasonals, which is even more evident by the amount of repeats they've had lately. I talked about it in the Book 9 review video a few months back, but that book had the most amount of repeats out of any other book thus far. It's definitely a way to save a bit more on banners, and by doing so, they could likely get a larger return over making content for different characters that cost a bit extra, although considering the performance of the Valentine's Engage banner, maybe it didn't go as planned for them. Regardless, they probably know people are more likely to pull as a result, but for me personally, it's really done the opposite, where I don't find myself pulling on banners as often or caring as much unless they either have absurdly good fodder or the units are broken beyond belief. But those aspects aren't remotely indicative of the character choice and quality of the lineup. More often than not, it's pretty mutually exclusive. Just going off the recent Emblem banner, for example, let's say that instead of Legendary Elise, we got Legendary Nime or something, whatever that isn't nearly as popular as her. If they were the exact same units, literally no difference beyond the character itself, I'd probably still pull for them anyway, and that would be a similar case with the Choose Your Legends 2 harmonic banner. I don't think that applies to everyone, of course. I think people are more intrigued by characters first and foremost before other factors, which is why they're doing this, but I think that only goes so far, especially when it comes to the pacing of their releases. I don't personally find it exciting to potentially be getting another Hector and Celica so soon, and assuming they do more of these this year, I don't see my sentiments changing for Alm, Micaiah, Dimitri, Edelgard, Marianne, Gatekeeper, and so on, although the thought of Marth backpacking Gatekeeper and a harmonic is really funny to me. Still, having this take the place of a new Heroes banner instead of anything else doesn't justify it to me, but it will most likely outperform a regular new Heroes banner, so who cares how I feel about it, right? It's business at the end of the day. This really tells me that the game is getting old. We are currently on the 10th year of Fire Emblem Heroes, which is amazing for something like this, but it feels like they just don't know what they're doing anymore. Of course, that's coming from the guy with no business experience versus a company that's been making and selling games for who knows how long at this point. So who's the real expert here? Kidding aside, of course, and take it with a grain of salt, but I don't see how a game that started out so strong and got an additional boost with 3 houses could be in the spot it's in now. To me, they don't really have to be in this position. I genuinely believe that Faye could be grossing so much more money despite its age if they just handled many things differently over the years. But maybe what they need is another incredibly popular game to fix everything. Fortune's Weave will do that, right? Right? I don't expect the rest of the year to pick up, honestly. I don't like being negative about this game, but they've really been dropping the ball as of late. At this point, we just take what we could get, and whatever happens with the game happens. You gotta enjoy it while it lasts. If this is something you're excited for, then that's at least something positive in the end. I'd rather it be the case where people are more happy about it than not, and I don't want to be the person that detracts that from you. Genuinely, if it does excite you, then I'm glad and I'm happy for you. But for me, I guess I get to save orbs at least, so that's nice. 14 less orbs, but still. Although A Hero Rises is coming up this month, so probably not. But yeah, that sure is the world of Fire Emblem Heroes right now. Or I guess Fire Emblem Brave Heroes, considering the timeline. How do you feel about it? Let me know down below, and until next time, I'll see you when we get Harmonic Alm Eliwood and Micaiah Camilla.
Oh-ho!